Okay, well, welcome to the talk on demystifying SEO and Google algorithms. For those who haven't met me before, my name is Knighton. I'm the founder of MRK WP. And as you can see, I've got just a few little certifications and little bits of study that I've done with SEO. I really have enjoyed what I've learnt about SEO over the past few years, and I enjoy sharing that with other people. Because there's lots of mysteries out there, and let's face it, most of them don't really help anybody get any good at SEO. And what I've found is that over the past 20 years that I've been coding HTML and CSS, that SEO and understanding SEO was the single most important thing to bring success to the websites I was creating. You know, before I understood this, it was really a roll of the dice. It was like gambling. I never really knew if someone was going to visit my site. I never knew if I was going to get good traffic. And I didn't know if therefore I was going to get the sales and the leads that my clients ultimately wanted from me. And that was a problem. So even with all that coding knowledge, I found something was missing. And that missing piece was not understanding Google Ads. It was not understanding how to do great Facebook posts. It was SEO. SEO. What is it and how does it work? Well, to me, it's the best way to get content results. So today we're going to take you through, first of all, what is SEO? We hear it all the time, but really, what is it? What does it mean and how do we do it? What makes the best page for SEO? We're talking about web pages, we're talking about WordPress, but what makes up a great page for SEO? Next, we want to go into what is good content. Good content makes a big deal out there. Good content is necessary for us to have great SEO results. Finally, we're going to talk about fast pages. All right, what makes a page fast? What makes it slow? What are some of the things you can do? Then we're going to talk about how we measure our results, how our social media can help with SEO, and finally, where do we actually start? I want to show you a couple of steps, and if you've already got the first couple done, you need to start somewhere, okay? Because if you don't start, nothing's ever going to change. You don't have to be great to start, but you've got to start to be great, okay? So let's first of all understand this, but what is SEO? It's not some kind of magic. It's not some sort of black hat juju thing that just people that can type in the CLI know. No, there's some very simple things that help us understand what SEO is. So what we have to do to understand what it is say, why do we have it? Why does SEO even exist? You see, because Google wants to deliver a great search result, don't they? If we stop searching in Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, they cease to exist, don't they? Because we stop searching there. Search is everything that runs that business. So these search engines, they need to work out what is good content. Now, everybody here, do you ever do a Google search and assume you got the wrong result? No. When we ask Google a question, we expect it gives us the right result. How does Google itself understand what the right result is? How do they do it? And how does Google refer someone to us? You see, Google sends us traffic for free. No matter how big or small your website is, I can tell you, Google is sending traffic to your website right now. Unless you've blocked it and told it not to, okay? And every time someone goes to Google and they click a link, you're being referred. It's not just clicking a link, you're being referred. You see, because we trust Google. So if I ask Google to give me the best price on a pair of Nike shoes, I assume the top result is going to be the best price on Nike shoes. So that first result is the one that I click, and I expect it to be the right one. So if you're a shoe company and you sell shoes here in Malaysia, and you get that number one spot for best price on Nike shoes, you're going to get a lot of sales, aren't you? Because everyone assumes that that number one is correct, even if it isn't. Even if it isn't. Okay? But Google, let's ask this other side. Does Google want to send people to the right site when they say best price on Nike shoes? Yep. Yes? Correct answer. Of course they do, because that's their business. So over 90% of the world's traffic starts at Google, and they created these things called algorithms. It's what makes Google so powerful. And every algorithm is designed to get one outcome at the end of the day. And this one outcome is very simple. Get the right answer for each search that we type into that search engine. That's what it's designed to do. And every algorithm helps Google do that. And as you know, today from Sherry's talk, she said there's so many different parameters out there that determine how Google understands a search and what page to give someone from that search. Okay? So that's why we're talking about these algorithms, because we want to understand how do these algorithms help us understand and Google understand how people are being referred over. Because if everyone's going to Google to search for things, we want to gain that trust. How do we know how they build trust with us as a website developer? It's through understanding these algorithms. So there's been a number of famous ones that have come out. I remember one called Mobilegeddon. Does anyone remember that? Was anyone here developing when Mobilegeddon happened? Yeah. And at that moment, if you didn't have a mobile responsive website, all of a sudden, your website disappeared off the search. Because Google realized that people wanted websites that worked on mobile phones. Pretty simple. Pigeon was another one. Pigeon is that algorithm that makes things show up when it's a local search. You see, if I Google today from this location, take me to Starbucks. Take me to Starbucks in Google. It's going to give me directions to get to the closest Starbucks. But it's going to do a couple of other things. It's also going to check the time that place is opened and closed, because it doesn't want to send me to a closed Starbucks, okay? And if I just say, take me to the closest petrol station, it may also take into account some of the rankings and views and reports and things like that. But you see, that's what Pigeon did. So there's also other types of algorithms. The latest one is called BERT. BERT. And BERT is an acronym. There's something called an acronym. It stands for something. Bidirectional something, rational translation or something like that. Basically what it means is there's many ways you can say something. And BERT is designed to help understand questions to deliver people the correct result. And what I wanted to point out here is notice that all of these are to do with detecting problems on websites to stop Google sending people to the wrong result. That's what they're there for. Take out the wrong results and give us better results, because great results for Google means more traffic for them, more money for them, and we continue to trust Google as the best search engine on the planet that it has become. So the best result for a search is what this is all about. And if we want to do SEO, we just have to ask ourselves one very simple question. How can I be the best search result for a search that's important for my business? What do I need to do? Okay? Very simple. So what does an SEO tech do? Exactly that. They work out, what do I need to do to make this page the best search result? The best result for this search that's going on Google. How do I do that? So we go through, we check your website against algorithms, we fix errors, and we make sure that at the end of the day, we get that important referral from Google. That's what we're after. That's what we do. So, making the best web page for a given search term to maximize referral traffic. That's what an SEO person does. Maximize that referral traffic. The more traffic you get, the more money you make. So what makes the best page for SEO? What do you have to have in that page? We know why we have SEO now. We know why we have those algorithms. It's no mystery to you anymore. I just demystified it already. The algorithms are there for that one simple purpose, to make sure that you get a great result, make sure that Google's sending you on to the right place. So when we look at this, what makes the best page for SEO? Well, let's look at this. 60% is content. Because you can't be the best result for what somebody is searching if your content doesn't address what someone is searching for. So your content is what's most important. Followed up by mobile. Does your web page work nicely on mobile? Does it load well on a 3G connection? Speed. How fast does it load? Then there's technical things. Is the code structured well? Do we have structured data? Do we have sitemaps, robot information, alt tags on images, all these sorts of things. And then the rest is really things that happen away from your website. Links, things like that. Okay? That's 10%. You can actually rank really well by addressing a question very well without having any links at all. Because if you get the other 90% done, you'll ultimately start getting traffic. Which is great news, because we don't have to go out there building links anymore. Because the fact is, though, you cannot get top spot without great content. It ain't gonna happen, all right? You might be able to trick the URLs and the algorithms for a little while, but Google will find you out. Because nobody likes going to a search result that doesn't answer their question. Nobody likes going into Google, clicking forward into a result, and then clicking back. We don't want to do that. No, we want to make sure that everybody who gets that referral from Google, when they come to our site, whatever they're being referred for, when it's particularly important for our business, we want to make sure that our content is going to answer that result. So when it comes to great content, that's your starting point. If you don't have good content, then you need to really talk to your clients. If you've got a client who won't give you good content, and they say, I want to be number one, and you're like, but you don't have any information. But I want to be number one in Google for this. That's when you have to communicate to them and say, you have to show Google that you deserve to be number one. Is your web page really the best result for that search? And I've done this with my clients, and I'll put the search in and I'll go through. Look at this page. Look at all the things this page answers. Look how well that content is written. Let's look at all those great photos. Look at that video. And let's look at your page and compare it. Now, how on earth will Google send people to your page instead of this one with all this amazing content? They're not going to. It ain't going to happen, bro. Let's work on your content, okay? So content is your great starting point. So what is good content? What does it really come down to make up good content as this starting point? So first of all, a great page has to answer what people have searched for. There's no point answering what they're not searching for. You have to answer what people are searching for. Your page needs to be comprehensive. Comprehensive means well covering the content, okay? Well covering a subject matter. There's no point talking about these Nike shoes and saying black Nike, and that's it. Talk more about it. No point describing this t-shirt as saying black WordPress KL shirt, and that's it. Nothing else with a couple of photos, that's not going to cut it. You need to describe it a bit more. What's it made from? Polyester, where was it made? How long ago was it made? All these sorts of things. How was it printed? This kind of stuff. That's going to help. And you should have images and video to help communicate. And of course, a great title and introduction. We heard earlier today that humans now, on their mobile devices, most of us have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. Now, I've never tried to entertain a goldfish before, but I have done a lot of SEO, and I can tell you that your title and your first paragraph is important. I don't know if it works for goldfish, but it certainly works for humans, and it grabs their attention, okay? Since goldfish can't read, I assume it won't work for them. All right, so let's keep moving on here. So your page has to answer what a potential client wants. How do you know what people want? You need to do a bit of research. And the best point that we can do is this right here. This is called the Google Auto Suggest. Okay, see that? So if you start typing something into Google, there's a suggestion. How did Google get these suggestions? They looked at what people were typing in. These are real queries. And Ahrefs, they're a website for SEO. They have some great stuff on 9 free keyword research tools. This link is on my website, mrkwp.com. Go into the blog. You can get the list for this from actually WordPress Singapore. And that is on there for you to be able to take a look at. Okay? There's planning tools, there's research tools to do this. Next up, of course, we need to have comprehensive, easy to read content. Now, I use a tool called the SEMrush writing tool. Now, if you're using Gutenberg, and you should be, okay, Gutenberg is an excellent tool for writing good content. This tool works amazingly well. That installs on your site, and it fills out and gives you information based on your research in SEMrush and joins the two together to help me make a page that's actually compared against my competitors for the term that I'm aiming to write for. It's a very powerful tool. Unfortunately, though, it only works with the Gutenberg editor, okay? It only works with the Gutenberg editor. If you're not going to use Gutenberg, you would have to write your content in Google Pages first, the Google Docs tool, scan it, make sure it's correct, and then bring it over to your chosen page builder. So if you're using Elementor or Divi or something like that, that would be the process you would follow, but it still works. Now, SEMrush is a premium tool, but if you look carefully on the site, there's a free option. But they don't make it very easy to see, all right? They want you to pay for the tool. But there is a free option. And again, I've got a number of different links on copywriting, because Yoast has some really good tools as well. You know, Yoast has been a very popular plugin in WordPress for a number of years. They contribute a lot to WordPress, and they have some excellent guides about how to write great content. But you know, you think about it, 1,000 words, few images, good video, good FAQ, you're well on your way. Next up is use structured data. You know, structured data is something that everyone kind of talks about, and it's a bit kind of like, hey, this is a very geeky thing to do. But it's not that hard. There's plenty of plugins that do it. And I wrote an FAQ plugin and put it on my site and tested when I had this kind of content here with this FAQ underneath my content, what the difference was in my click-through rates. Anyone want to take a guess at the difference? Any guesses? How much more traffic would I get for the result? 2,000 what? More views. Okay. Yeah, it was close to that in the number of views, but that comes down to the content. What happened is I went from a 1% click-through rate. 1%. So my organic results in Google Search Console, 1 in 100 people for the top 3 results in Google that I was ranking for would click on something that doesn't have rich data. When I added the rich data, it went up to 10%. 10%. That's 10 times the traffic. 10 times the traffic by having the FAQ. I tested it over my top 20 results. I thought, hey, is this really true? Is this really right? And I found out generally I get 200% more traffic when I implement structured data compared to when I don't. That's pretty big. Really big, in fact. So implement structured data. And of course, a great title and description is good. Yoast has a wonderful tool for this. They've been doing it for ages. Right? Write a good title. Just so you know, homepage is not a good title for your homepage, okay? You need to make it a little bit more than that and make sure you fill those descriptions out. Okay, so what makes a great page? Well, we've been through it. Let's go over it again. First of all, your page has to answer what people are searching for. Use Google Suggest for that. Next up, your page needs to be comprehensive and easy to read. Comprehensive, 1,000 words, images, 5. If you can, put a video in, put an FAQ in there, add that structured data, and finally, the great title and introduction. That's your meta description. That's where your journey starts for your site, people. People, think about this. When you do a Google search, the first interaction you have with a website is the title and meta description. That's what it is. It's not when they land on your page, it's when they read the result in Google. That's the first interaction. And so many times I come across websites and people haven't filled this stuff out and they wonder why their website isn't working so well. Whereas that's the first thing that someone engages with your website in, because all of the traffic's coming from search engines. Unless you drive it through email or ads, that's where it comes from. Make sure that you don't neglect that. It's a big one in making you get good results. So the other thing, of course, is you need to have the page that's fast. I've never heard anybody said, hey, I went to this website, but it just loaded so fast, I wasn't really, certain I like it very much. Nobody's ever said that, right? Never happened. Nobody ever said my internet's too fast. Doesn't happen, okay? So it's the same thing. We have a need for speed. How do I make my pages fast? Well, first of all, when you measure load time, these performance scores, this is on GT metrics, this stuff, that doesn't matter. Okay, let me say it again. That doesn't matter at all. What matters is this. That time, that's what matters. These are what matter. Because you could have a score of F and still be loading really, really, really fast, okay? And let's think about this. But you could have a score of A and be loading slower. What does the customer want at the end of the day? What does the customer see? I am certain that nobody ever had feedback from a customer saying, look, I went to your website, I almost bought the product, but you had a page speed score of F. So I decided to go to the slower website with a page speed score of C because it just made me feel better. It's never going to happen, is it? So these page speed scores are designed to give us some guideline, but that second count is what matters. At the end of the day, the score of page score and why slow doesn't matter. It's how fast your page loads. How fast does it have to be? Get under 3 seconds. And of course, there's some wonderful tools out there to help you. These are the tools I use. GT Metrics and Lighthouse. All right, Sherry showed his Lighthouse earlier today. That has some wonderful recommendations to help you understand how to make your web page faster. WP Rocket and WP Smush, they're 2 tools that I use. WP Rocket makes all my CSS and JavaScript and things load fast. WP Smush is a tool that squashes all my images down and makes them smaller and more compressed. Another good one for that is something called Short Pixel, okay? A free alternative to WP Rocket, W3 Total Cache. There's lots of tools out there, but this is what I use. And finally, use a high quality host. A lot of hosts, they have lots of little micro downtimes and other little issues that go on. I've been using Kinsta for a couple of years now. I've found them to be fantastic personally. That's what I personally use. You may find different results for where you live and your kind of clients, but just make sure that they're a good quality host. Make sure that they're a WordPress specialist. So finally, we need to measure our results. There's no point doing all this stuff without measuring things properly. Assumptions is what gets our businesses into trouble. We assume. We say, well, my customers, they don't want easy to read content. They want something that's a bit more comprehensive. They're smart people. So I'm not going to follow the Yoast guideline. And I've had customers of mine say that to me. Our customers are sophisticated. They don't want easy to read content. They want this, they want that. And unfortunately, the stats don't lie and told them, you're actually making an assumption. It's not true. So you need to measure things. So of course, that means using things like Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager. How many people here have used Google Tag Manager? A couple. And how many people use Google Analytics? Right, so there's more hands for analytics. The thing that I would like to just say to everybody is just this question. Let's think about this. If the way Google Analytics is set up as standard is a good way of doing it, why did Google create Tag Manager? It's interesting, isn't it? I don't think they just did it just to create another product, and they didn't. So learn how to use Tag Manager because it really helps you deliver a better way of loading your analytics scripts. It allows you to deliver Facebook pixel script better. And you will find that just implementing Google Tag Manager over the standard way of using analytics will give you faster load times and allow you to be more flexible in the way you do your tracking, just by learning how to use that tool. Of course, use the Google Webmaster Console, or Search Console as it is called now. I'm old school, so I still call it Webmaster Console. It's the same thing. Sherry always tells that joke. I didn't laugh the first time. It's the same thing to me. It's just a rename, okay? They're both the same thing. But the most important thing is know the tool and use it. So many of us know the names of things, but we don't really know what they are and how they work. Make sure you get to know this tool intimately. Spend a bit of time on it because it's showing you what people are searching for and what they're clicking through to your website for. And understanding how to improve that is what really matters. Okay, so spend the time learning it. It does matter a lot. I use a rank tracker as well. I use SEMrush as my rank tracker. That's the tool that I like to use. It's entirely up to you guys what you use, but I do encourage you that once you've got those other tools set up, make sure you start rank tracking for what you're targeting on. Target that. Say, hey, I targeted this page to get better ranking for Nike shoes. Am I actually getting better results here? Is my effort giving me better results? Because there's nothing worse than just making all these changes and not actually checking if it's working. We need to make sure it works. So the next one is social media, all right? Social media. And I have to tell you, when it comes to social media, all social media platforms are not made equal. Some like links and some don't like links, okay? So when we look at them, there's some big differences. And one thing that I've found is Twitter loves links. Loves them. I can share content on Twitter directly from my web page and share it to Twitter, and people will be able to see that content. Whereas many times I share content to Facebook from my pages and they don't even show it in my customers' feeds. They've liked my page, they've engaged with me in other ways. I share a link, I don't pay any money, and Facebook doesn't send any traffic to me at all until I spend money on boosting that post. That annoys me. In one case, we have a Facebook group that we created with a friend of mine. We had 70,000 people on the page that we'd built up over time. We're doing live videos and everything. And then all of a sudden, they just changed their minds and we can't post content anymore and reach that 70,000 audience. We have to pay to reach the audience we built up because Facebook is not the right place to share your links. That's not the way they want to operate. And if you're going to play on social media, you have to play the way the social media platform wants you to play, okay? Twitter likes links. Share your links there. LinkedIn likes links. Okay, you can share your content there. But don't waste your time sharing stuff to Facebook thinking it's going to give you a great result. It doesn't, okay? But Twitter will. And you can reshare on Twitter. I create great content. Some of my stuff, I reshare it every week. Other stuff, I reshare once a month. Other stuff, I put into a smart queue so it reshares when I'm just having a quiet week, okay? But I can keep on resharing that content on Twitter and still get traffic, all right? So use those automations. So finally, where do we actually get started? Okay, where are we going to start with all of this? Let's think about this. Where do we start? And I've got some very simple ways that I start on every single website. Every single one. And I start with WordPress. You know, somebody asked me today, Matt, why is it that people say WordPress is better at SEO than other platforms? Why is it? And it's simple. It's because WordPress is hardly ever WordPress on its own. People have installed something else with it. It's normally Yoast, all-in-one SEO, rank math, and these tools do a heck of a lot of really cool stuff without you even realizing it. You don't even realize all the cool things they're doing. But it means that from that moment onwards, you've already got a whole bunch of technical things set up that help Google understand your website. And that's a great thing. So the next thing, of course, is if you've got WordPress and you've got that as your foundation, the next thing is to make sure you have a fast host. You can put a great site on a bad host and it's going to run slow. It's not going to be able to deal with decent amounts of traffic, okay? Put it on a good host. We put that work in, put it on a good host. Next up, use a mobile optimized theme. Mobile optimized. It should work well on a mobile phone. And if you can, make sure that it works with AMP and Gutenberg. AMP and Gutenberg. AMP is a subset. If you go to amp.dev, it's a subset of HTML that Google's using. If you ever want to go into that, you're not going to have to change your theme if you make sure it's compatible to start with. And that can deliver some quite good results. Next up, install Yoast or Rank Math or all-in-one SEO. I personally use Yoast. I've been using it for a long time. Will I always stay with Yoast? Probably not. Someone will probably come up one day that's going to be better, but I'm comfortable with Yoast and I know how to use it well, and it's been delivering great results. I have a bit of a phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? And it's delivering good results for me. The most important thing is make sure you install a tool, and whatever tool you know, that plugin you're using, make sure you use it properly. Next up, once I've done that, is your keyword research. Don't create your content without the keyword research, okay? Make sure you use the auto-suggest and something like SEMrush. That's what I use for my stuff. And then fill your website with great content. And that's pretty much it. If you do that and think of your customer first, you're going to end up winning when it comes to SEO. So that's it for today. So look, I hope you guys have begun to understand. Algorithms are not complicated. They're all really doing the one thing, which is to make sure that your website is a good answer for the search result that's coming in Google. How do you make those algorithms work for you? Make a great website with great content. And of course, use WordPress, use the free tools that are available to you, and do it with purpose. Track what you're doing, and you'll get some fantastic results. So now we'll open up to questions. I assume we have a runner out there who can run around. Someone will present a hat to me and say thank you in a second, because I've been doing that all day in here. And but if there's any questions, please raise your hand and we'll get a runner to you with a mic to answer those questions. No questions. Is everyone that tired? You're just like, just take the photo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. No problem. Thanks, man.